Look at that for a tick over. Not bouncing about at all. Bloody love this bike. In fact, I love all four that are now in my garage. I had the choice this morning. Well, I really only have the choice of three because one of them's not insured just yet. And that's my new addition. A little 125 Grom. Cute little thing. Speaking of insurance, what con and a rip-off insurance is. Yes, I know we all need it to stay legal, but the pricing is well, it makes no sense at all. I'll tell you for why. I've insured this bike and the BMW on the same policy for fully comprehensive with riding other motorcycles for around about £68 for the year. The turbo I've got, the cheapest quote I had for that when I got it was £57. Now this is a 650cc or 673 if you want to be exact, around about 65 horsepower. The BMW is a 750 and it's around about 75 horsepower. The CX Turbo is a 673, the same as this, but it's supposedly 100 horsepower. And all of them I could be insured for less than 70 quid. Trying to get a quote on that Grom yesterday, considering, bearing in mind I've been riding, I've had a full bike licence since 93, 94, say 94. So what's that, 32 years. I couldn't get a quote cheaper than £110. I know it's not a lot of money, but when you consider what it's cost to insure these compared to a 125 Grom, how does that make any sense? Where's the sense in that? You know, surely you'll lower the risk on these two big ones and the turbo, which is insured a different way, but it's still insured. Lower the risk on the bigger bikes than that Grom. It doesn't make any sense. So I've not insured it just yet. And the other thing, which I'm beginning to realise, it's very difficult, possibly not impossible, to insure a bike or a vehicle that you're keeping, you've got in your possession, that doesn't belong to you, as in it's not registered to you. The dearest quote I saw for the Honda, for the Grom, was something in the line of £438. I mean, you couldn't make it up. So, it's not insured. I don't think I've done a video. I'll do a reveal video. I've got one, so I'll stick excuse me. I'll stick a reveal video in now. Right, are you all ready for the big reveal? Here we go. Hang on, let me get this garage door open. It's a bit awkward. There we go. The big reveal. Let's just put the light on so you can see. So we've got the Honda, we've got the other Honda and the BMW, and then look at this little thing. Yes, it's another Honda. Anyone guess what it is? I'll tell you. It's a MSX 125
on another long-term loan like that one. 69 plate, not sure of the mileage, but there we are. So that's what it is. Told you I'd create space in here for another one. And then if I go up into the roof, I can probably get 2 more up there and another one squeezed in just down there.
There you go. Isn't it cute? Ever since my lad had that YBR 125 a couple of years ago, and I rode that, I did some miles on that, I said then, you know, everyone, in my opinion, everyone who rides a bike should have a 125 in the garage, just for the cheapness of it, the fun of it, just for the, yeah. But good luck getting it insured for under 100 quid. And to show you how much it varies, when my lad got that 125, when he got that YBR Dustin, which was a lovely thing, there's a video on the channel about that, there's a couple of them actually. I had a 2-day insurance quote on it just to bring it home, you know, like temporary cover, and it was 37 quid for 2 days. And I said to the girl on the phone, just out of interest, what would it be for a year? And she ran the quote through, it came back at £57. Now is a Grom seen as a sporty 125? Is it seen as, probably seen as more desirable to pinch, I guess, because it's a lot smaller and, you know, two men could easily bundle it in the back of the van. Obviously you'd struggle with one of these, but if you're determined enough you'd still be able to do it. So yeah, insurance doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, I dare say cars are the same, but I've only got one, out of the 3 cars we've got, I've only got one of them that's insured to me. I soon will have 2. We've got I've got the Toyota Avensis, and I'll tell you what, I know this is kind of a bike video, but that Toyota Avensis of mine is an 1800 automatic. It won't pull the skin off a rice pudding, but it's phenomenally reliable. It's 20 years old. Here we go. 20 years old, and it's done 107,000 miles. With a Toyota, in my opinion, if you want a car. I mean, a few months ago, round about just before Christmas, or just after Christmas, I had possession again of a Toyota Yaris GR4. What a car that is. I'll put a picture of it in now. There you go. And that could have stayed on my drive for indefinitely until the guy that owns it, funny enough, is the same guy that does own the Honda Grom, until he sold it. He hasn't actually sold it, I reckon he's going to keep it now. But yeah, the insurance on that Honda Grom was just absolutely senseless. What a glorious morning. finally. And yes, we're off up to Monash again. There is another cafe up near Monash, just off the, just on the 515, just before you take the second turning, or is it just after the second turning off the 515, coming from this direction for Monash. I'm going to try that one day. Maybe give it a try today actually. Monash, the old Smithy tea rooms, for those of you that haven't tried it, is lovely. Coffee is gorgeous. Bacon sandwiches, yeah, you stay in the road there, pal. Looked like it was going to run out in front of me then. So this is kind of a plug, I suppose. I've been going to the old Smithy tea rooms in Monash for probably the best part of 3 years regularly. I mean, I used to go before, but not as regular, and not as near enough regimented every single Sunday. But the only downside to Monash is it does get incredibly busy, especially when the weather's like this. Which is why on a Sunday, look at that review, gorgeous. Which is why on a Sunday I like to get there for 9 o'clock as it opens, because you can usually park, well, most of the time you can park up then, you can get a seat, you can get served. So if any of you are ever up in the Peak District north of between Ashbourne and Buxton, I suppose it's nearer to Buxton, not necessarily just on a bike, but get yourself to Monash, the old Smithy tea rooms. Now there is a better way to go than the way I'm going through Ashbourne, but this was Ashbourne High Street was closed for months and months, and this was the diversion, and I've just stuck to this way. Listen to that engine, listen to that all day long. I should have that as my ringtone on my phone. Yeah, don't cut the corner. I'm on a Facebook forum for these bikes, the GL 650, 500, CXs, and there's separate ones for the CX Turbo. Now I must stress, the CX Turbo isn't actually mine. Someone's been kind enough to, well, I'm kind of doing him a favour by keeping it in my garage, but he's given me use of it as well. So anyway, it's not actually mine. It's in my possession, but that's it. Maybe one day it'll be mine. Anyway, what was I saying? Alright. And I put a photograph of the Turbo on one of these Facebook forums, Facebook pages, not forum. Is it forum? I don't really know. Facebook pages, just asking the question, how many are UK based? And with the idea of, I mean, I know the mate of mine that's given me that bike, that I'm storing it for, has also got another one. If you look back on last week's video, where we were both out on it, 2 turbos together up and down through the Peak District. What a great day that was. What was I saying again? I forgot. Yeah, I put on the Facebook page how many are UK based, and that there was quite a few actually, surprisingly. One guy was in the Alamando, but still playing for the UK. And then I've just put on the bottom of the comments that it would be good to meet up sometime, get a gathering of as many of the UK turbos as we possibly can. I did do a similar thing a few years ago for these, but we didn't really get the response that I got for the turbo page. Obviously I'd have to run it by the owner. If you're watching this, Russ, I'm sure you wouldn't mind, you could come along. Maybe meet up at Moniash. So that'd be good, we could pull that off. And also these, if there's I don't know how many of these are left in the UK. Not a great deal, but if we could get these all together as well. Just a gathering of all the CX, well we could broaden it to any CX motorbike, but then I think you would probably just get a load of CX 500s. There's quite a few of them still about. And I would include cafe racers and bobbers or whatever they're called, you know. Just get a load of them together. Get a nice spot somewhere, not necessarily in the Peak District, I mean obviously it would be handy for me, but get a nice sunny day like this. And get a load of well, if we just said CXs, CX 500s, 650s and all the different guises, being the turbo, the Silverwing, the Eurosports, the customs, the 500 custom. They actually did a 650 custom, but I think the 500 custom, even though the 650 is a better engine, the 500 custom was a better looking bike in my opinion. My dad had one of them from new. Back in, what year would that have been? 1984? 83? No, it was a Y-Reg, so what year is that? Is that 82? Back in 82. And then he sold it, because my mum, he sold it because my mum wanted a car. Which is love, isn't it? To sell your bike because your wife wants a car. And he's had some bikes in his lifetime. Haven't you, if you're watching this? I think the next bike, when he sold the CX500 he was without a bike for a few years. Not many. And I think the next one he got after that was a Kawasaki EN500, which is a similar sort of thing to the CX500, and then I couldn't tell you which ones he had after that. I think he bought this in around about 1991 when it was red. Well, it was a few different colours. It was red and purple and a bit of pink because it all faded. So I had it resprayed when I got it, and it's due a respray again really. Yeah, so the story, I've probably told this story before, but the story behind this bike and how I came to how I've got it now was my dad bought it in early 90s, 91, 92, something like that. correct me if I'm wrong if you're watching this. And then I think he sold it to his mate. And his mate, at the time, the front porch needed retoning, ideally, because they were getting a bit fitted. I've had that done in the last sort of 7 years. Yeah, so he sold it to his mate. I then was on an AR125, I think that was what I passed the test on. And then the first big bike I rode, this kind of story's going all over the place, but hey, if you want to listen. The first bigger bike I rode after passing the test was a RD250E on a T-plate. And that was back then. I mean, the AR125 was a quick 125, but the step up from that to the RD250 was twice as good. We had some good fun on that. And then he bought this bike back off his mate for not a lot of money, and then I ran it and managed to get it all repainted in the blue that it is now. But then I kept it then, what year was that? 97 was it? 90, something like that I got it? 96, 97. I kept it then till we moved from Wales to Derby. In 2006, which was 20 years ago. And then the dad bought it back off me. Well, I kind of give it him, but he helped us with the move and stuff, so I had nowhere to keep it. And so then he had it back. He still lived in Wales. And when we moved house in Derby to a bigger house that had a garage, initially I didn't think too much about the bike. It was always there. I always thought I need another bike, you know. And we moved house to a house with a garage, and then the following year we went to the classic bike show in Uttoxeter, at Uttoxeter Racecourse, and they had a stand there. The CX stand, the CX Owners Club, and they had one of these. It was a 500, and then they had a CX 500 and something else I can't remember. But they had 3 bikes all lined up, and I went there with my dad. And when I saw them, I thought, I need that bike, I need a bike, but ideally this one. So then he gave it me back, literally gave it me back. Thank you very much for that. So then I was back on 2 wheels, but only for a matter of, I don't know, 3 years if that. And I had to sell this because of cash flow problems. The car needed 4 tyres and, you know, yeah. So I flogged it again to a guy from Milton Keynes. He came up, and that would have been round about 2013, was it? 2012, 2013, in the November. I think it was November of 2012. Well, 2013, November 2013. God's sake, of course. So then I was without a bike again. But the following year, my dad was emigrating to Spain, and he'd got rid of all his bikes apart from one, which was the BMW. And I think the day he came down, the day I sold this, he came down to visit from Wales. And I could see I was a little bit upset because I'd got rid of the bike. And he just said then, he said, well, you can have my BM. And that's how I came about the BMW. Again, when I got that picture in here, as you can see, it needed a respray, I mean, mechanically it was sound. Cosmetically, it was looking very drab and sorry for itself. So in 2018, I got made redundant. Let me get this car here. I got made redundant and I got a half decent payout. This bike had been offered to me back in 2017 for the same money that he paid me for it, but I didn't have the funds at the time, so anyway, I forgot about it. And then I got made redundant. I thought, right, well that BMW needs respraying, so I got that resprayed and repainted in the red, back to factory red standard. Got the panniers colour coded, which I think you could get from BMW, but they would charge a lot of money. And then I've got my missus to thank for this being back, because we were sat watching TV one evening. All the parts had gone off the BM, they'd all gone to be painted up, and she just happened to mention in passing, thought you would have bought the Honda back. I just hadn't thought about it. And the second she said that, I thought, do you know what, why haven't I done that? So I got in touch with the guy who I'd sold it to, and asked him on Facebook, so I kept in touch with him, and he gave me first refusal. Kept in touch, asked him if he still had it, and he said, yeah, I have still got it, I do need to sell it. I'll let it go cheap. So I think he gave me 1,200 quid for it, or something like that, I can't quite remember. But in the time of his ownership, yeah, he put 2 tyres on it. I've since redone that. He put a screen on it, he put a sat-nav on it, which made a bit of a mess of that speaker. It also fell off it, and he cracked the fairing and scraped the pannier. And the forks were, by this time, the forks were getting pretty shot that he'd actually failed an MOT for it. So initially I thought, well, I'm going to go in cheeky here. And I offered him 500 quid, thinking he was going to tell me to do one and never speak to him again. And we settled on £600. So I got this back for £600. And that was back in 2018. And then the silencers were rotten, so I managed to source 2 of them. I got the forks re-thrown, put a new battery on it, and I think that's how it's stayed. But it is due another respray. Now I'm not sure, I was going to say whether that car was going to turn it, I'm not sure when I do get the funds to spray it, whether I'm going to put it back to its wine day red, I think it was, or keep it this colour. This is a nice colour, but it's not the original colour. I mean, I would like to keep it, put it back to stock colour. God, this is running so nice. But my missus wants it look like it's staying in this blue, because it is a nice blue, but the fairing doesn't match the rest of the bike, because I had to source another fairing. I tried to get the other one fixed, but it's just beyond. Always drops a bit up here. Yeah, so at that time in 2018 I had this one and I had the BMW, and then it wasn't until, what are we now, 2026, was it 2023? Yes, 2023 when a third bike came into the garage. That was the YBR. That was a lovely bike, I loved that. I'd have bought that off my son if I had the money. He sold that and passed his car test. He is talking about doing his CBT again, but he can't afford a bike and a car, not with the wages he's on. But he does keep talking about it. And it was kind of special when we used to go for rides together. Me on this or the BM and him on the YBR. It was good. We came up here as well actually. We didn't go to the tea rooms, I don't think. We came up to Matlock Bath. Me, my son and one of his mates actually. His mate was on a Yamaha X-Max 125, I think it was an X-Max. Never gets old. Look at that, rolling green fields, the odd farmhouse, dry stone walling and nothing else. Isn't that lovely? And then you drop into the valley here. Is it a valley? I suppose it is a bit, isn't it? Down into Monyash. So I'll end the video at the tea rooms, where I'll be stopping, getting a coffee, bacon sandwich, maybe, and a good chat. Ooh, I haven't brought my gloves, my inner gloves. My hands are getting a bit chilly now, so I'll have to warm them up on a cup of coffee. Prices wise here, it's what you'd expect really. I think a coffee's £2.50. When you think about what goes into a cup of coffee, that is a lot of money. But you know, you pay. The business has got to make money to keep going, hasn't it? So here we are, Monyash. Is it Monyash or Monyash? I never know. Monyash or Monyash? I think it's Monyash, but I'm not sure. So according to that clock it's only 8:52, but I think that's a bit slow. I think it's probably about 8:55. At the weekends they open at 9 o'clock. During the week I think they open at 10 o'clock. There's a few there already, look. And there it is. There's the old Smithy tea rooms. I'm going to back it in actually. But it's a bit easier to get out. There we are, so get yourself down here. Some coffee and cake. Bloody hell. This is what I mean. This is what I mean about a nice sunny Sunday. Anyway, speak to you later. Thank you.